What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Swag Cast. Today I have an exciting guest, a former Bellator MMA fighter and a current BKFC fighter training out of New York, Jessica Ruiz. What's going on, Jessica? How you doing today? I hope everything's going good for you. So I had a couple questions, and actually I want to go before fighting because
Mhm.
your fighting record is small. You haven't. It looks like from the outside looking in, it looks like you haven't been fighting for the longest time, at
Right,
least professionally.
right.
So I was wondering what you did before fighting because you are 40 years old. You look great
Yeah,
for your age. You are
thank you.
40, and I was wondering what you did for so long before actually stepping into the cage.
Yeah, so before I was training, well, I started in this game really late. I think I was about like 32 years old, 33. And before that, I was married. I was having kids. I have four kids, by the way, four
Okay.
kids. And my oldest is 24 and my youngest is 10.
Okay.
So I was married and having all these kids, and my ex-husband, he was working and he was also in school. So I was very busy and I was working at the same time. I was working at a bank. I've always wanted to do sports. I've always wanted to be a fighter since I'm a little girl, but I never had the chance to because, again, I had my first child young. I came from a conservative family. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking for a gym for my son, and then I came across this gym in Baldwin called OMA,
Mm-hmm.
and I signed my son up. And the guy there, the sensei there, was like, "Why don't you come in too and get try a class, whatever?" And I did. And when he saw me spar, the very first day, I was like light sparring, whatever. He was like, "Oh, do you fight? Do you do this?" I was like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "Well, you could really, fight if you want." And I was like, "Well, I've always wanted to." So my first fight from then was in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I started fighting amateur. My amateur, I think I fought like about maybe 14 fights, maybe a little less
Okay.
than that, maybe 12 to 14 fights I fought.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I went pro during COVID. And yeah, so I've also had ACL surgery from training. Um, I had an ACL, MCL, and PCL, all them tears. They just so I had that surgery. I had to recover for like a year or two because then COVID happened. So it's been a bumpy ride since I turned pro. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah,
Yeah, because you were killing it in the amateur scene. You made
yes,
your amateur debut in 2016, and you had a really good MMA record, but you mostly kickboxed,
right, right. So
and
I did, yeah.
your
I came from a
kickboxing record
kickboxing
was
school.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Your kickboxing was on point. I
right,
watched. I can't remember who your opponent was, but you beat the absolute dog piss out of her. I watched it on a break at lunch at work, and I was just like, "Huh, about to choke on a sandwich." You got that dog in you, and
right.
you're telling me you're a mother of four. So now I know why you got that dog in you because being a mom of one is hard enough. You got four babies and
Yeah.
you're out there whooping ass. So now can you before we get into the pro career cuz I know you said that's kind of when it got crazy. Uh can you talk about like your mind space when you were going through the amateur divisions in MMA and in kickboxing?
Yeah, I was so motivated. I also I was training out of OMA MMA. Sensei there was Mark, still a really great friend to me. I started off with him and everything was well. After that, I went to another gym. Basically, I felt like I guess in my life I had more stability. I think
Mm.
that's why I was able to strive more and just be more focused. Um, my kids were smaller, so it's different when your kids are small as to when now they're growing and they're going through like teenage years.
Mhm.
It's very different. So um I just, I was working, I was training hard, I was very focused. I wasn't drinking, I never went out, I was just so focused back then. I have to say, yeah. So,
So, do you think the having the four, you said they were still small, having the four smaller children, does that help the motivation? Does that kind of, is that something that you kind of look at and you say I have to win it for them now, so it's kind of like lose at no cost?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not back then. I It wasn't like I was thinking about them. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was
Okay.
more like these were my dreams that I wanted as a child that
Yeah.
I never had. That's what it was for me. That was my motivation, is that I felt like certain things were kind of stripped from me as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what motivated me to stay focused and train all the time, and take I loved fighting all the time. I would take any fight. I still kind of take any fight, which is not good. Which is not good. That's where I got in trouble. um yeah. It was that motivated me.
that
So
that's still a good thing though. That maybe you telling me that, I feel like is even better, because now like people that are like 29, 30, looking at this interview, and maybe they haven't gotten to really go for their dreams. Maybe this motivates them to say there's still a chance,
right,
because
right,
you in 2018 get called and make your pro debut for Bellator, which is, at that time, Bellator was at like the peak of their MMA. They were like, UFC was here, Bellator was like right here.
right.
They had like Michael Chandler, Eddie, they had all of the dogs in there, and you get your call to make your pro debut there. That doesn't happen very often. So how did that feel to get the call for Bellator and then work for them?
Yeah. So Bellator was contacting me before I made my pro debut. I had I just got injured. I had ACL. I had a ACL tear, MCL tear, and PCL.
Mm-hmm.
And they called me and I said no, I can't fight. I'm injured. They called me again. I said no, I can't fight. I'm injured. During the time I was holding off on surgery, I just really didn't want to get surgery. I was trying to rehab it myself. I was rehabbing. I wasn't. I didn't want to go through surgery, so I was trying to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while until they called me again. And again, I was not fighting the whole time. I was injured. So when they called me again, and I'm like, damn, I was really itching to fight, and I felt better. And some people on my team, some of my coaches were like, yeah, you should take it because this is like an opportunity. Other people were saying, no, Jess, you're still injured. Please don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to wrestle. You're not going to be able to cage wrestle. You can't really kick. They're like, you're just going to throw hands. And I was going against an Olympic boxer. So I was like, I really want to fight. I really want to fight. I really want to take this. I took it. And within the first round, I was moving so much and I pivoted the wrong way where my ACL completely snapped. Like it just tore.
Uh-huh.
So I wasn't able to continue, and I had surgery like a week after that. So
So so now, did that fight kind of like give you the lesson of like, if I'm even a little hurt, don't take anything, don't even train
yes,
until I'm fully prepared?
yes, yes.
How long did it take to rehab that ACL tear?
Uh After the surgery it took like about a year, a good year, before I started training. Like really, I mean, I started training, after like 6 months. I started training, but to actually train and like be in fight shape, it took about a year. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, COVID happened, and everything paused for a while. It was hard to get fights, and then everybody had COVID. I ended up getting COVID, like the worst COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like it took me another year to get over the COVID, to get like, because my lungs were destroyed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you mean.
It took me another year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So
just a lot of things that happen.
yeah, no, that sounds tough, but you do finally end up getting back into it, and you were very active. you have your last MMA fight in 2023, and it's your first pro win. So can you tell us how it felt to finally be able to put one in the win column?
It felt really good. I'll be honest, I'm not the type of fighter that's like, oh my God, I won and like everything's great and it just like I'm not like that. Like I felt like I always feel like I could do better even though I won. I
Hmm.
was like, okay, I could have done this, I could have done that, I could have done this, I need to work on this. So I mean, it felt really good. I was obviously very grateful I won and everything, but I just felt like, I could have done this or that, But yeah, it felt good. It really, obviously it motivated me. But even my losses had motivated me too. So, I just feel like there's always room for improvement, and that's what I'm doing every day. So
Well, I feel like a lot of people will say a win is motivating, but I feel like there's really nothing more motivating than a loss. I like to say often that like you really never lose. It's only a lesson. You only learn. That's what the L stands for. I
right,
don't know if you feel the same way.
I do. I do. I do feel the same way. I feel like every loss that I got, like it just it taught me so much. Not just about fighting, but about like just life. You
Yeah.
know, just a lot of things. What's important, what's not. Sometimes you get lost in like you stop being so focused. Sometimes, and then you get a fight, you lose, and then you're like, all right, well, I wasn't doing this, and I was doing that, and it's just there's just so, and then you have to make so many adjustments. That's been my life. It's been like a big like it's just been a roller coaster, and where I'm just like learning. Still at 40 years old, I'm still
Hmm.
learning. And it's like you're never done learning. You know what I mean? You're never done learning. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Especially the game of martial arts. There's
right.
so much to learn. Like even 40-year black belts are still learning something new every single day. So you had three MMA fights booked this year, but none of them happened. What were you injured? Were your opponents injured? Can you kind of talk about those pullouts?
Yeah, the opponents were injured.
Okay.
They pulled out. There was one of them that I was supposed to fight in Pennsylvania where I was injured. And like I said, me being injured, I'm like, nope, I'm not going in there like that. Even though it wasn't a bad injury, but I just knew that it had to do with my knee. So it was like it's something that I'm not gonna go. I don't want to have surgery. I'm not gonna go through again. So I
Yeah.
said no. But the other ones were they had pulled out.
Okay, so now when an opponent pulls out, do you just kind of go right back to the drawing board and like look for a new opponent? Does the training camp kind of like turn into just normal training sessions?
No, well, they try to look for new opponents.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's women are so limited in the sport that it's just hard to get the right weight. It's hard to get, so it didn't happen. And you just go back into. To me personally, I always like to train like I'm going to fight
Mm-hmm.
um all the time. So I never stop training. However, if I know that I'm not, all right, this fight didn't go through, I am going to go eat what I want, and drink what I want.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm pretty consistent. I have to train all the time for my mental health. So I'm always training.
Okay, so in August of this year, you make your BKFC debut. Can you talk about making the switch from MMA to bare knuckle boxing?
Oh, it's so different. Oh my God, it's so different. So I was so used to doing MMA training for a while, and then I started wrestling. I started doing jiu-jitsu for a while. For a whole year, I just did a lot of grappling, and I didn't do any boxing training, anything like that. And so getting the fight uh, from BKFC took a long time. Once I got it, I said, you know what, I'm going to go through with it. I've been dying to fight, in BKFC. So I took the fight, and I trained for about a month and a half, maybe almost 2 months, boxing training into for the BKFC. It was just so different, so different.
how grappling and then just switching over to the straight boxing, different endurance, different. It was so different. It was very. It was just hard, very hard. And um, when I stepped into that ring, it was super small. That you don't see it so much on TV, but when I saw it in person, I was like, oh my god, uh, there's nowhere to move there. So I don't know, but it's a good thing I went in. I got my feet wet. I know what to expect. I know how to now we know how to train this and everything.
But I really, it was hard. It's painful. When you get hit bare knuckle, it's a different story. It's a
Mm-hmm.
different ball game. Very, very different. And it is what it is. I can't say that I loved it, but I like the challenge, so I'm definitely can't wait to step back in there again.
Mm-hmm.
So
So now you said it hurts more. Does
oh
how it are there is there any way to like prep for that? You can't really prep
no,
for that, right? Like you can't really spar bare knuckle because you're just gonna fuck
no,
yourself up.
no, you can't. You
That
can't. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go hit a tree a couple of times and think it's. I see fighters do that all the time. I don't know. I don't. You're never really prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just you just got to get your feet wet and know, okay, this is what it is. This is the feeling. Like okay, you're gonna get hit. This is what it feels like. It's I'm still training. I'm training boxing, street boxing because you never know when they're gonna call me again. I have one more fight on my contract.
mm-hmm.
So, and they do want me to renew my contract, which is something that I might do. So I don't know yet for sure, but I definitely do want to fight another fight.
Mm. That so there's a commentator. Two commentators just did a bare knuckle fight, and it was the one commentator just like walked just full speed towards him, and the other one just like he said he trained for 6 months for this, and like everything just went out the window when he started getting walked
Oh yeah,
down. Like I would do a lot of dumb shit, but and I say dumb because I'm not a professional. So it'd be dumb for me. But I don't think I would ever bare knuckle it out. So you got a bit extra bigger dog inside of you for that. That is to be able to step into a bare knuckle ring and then want to do it again. You're
yeah,
such a
yeah,
savage.
yeah.
So now the debut doesn't go your way, but it's a hard fought battle. Did you expect her to clinch so much during camp? She got very clinchy at certain points.
Yeah, I mean, I did expect her. I knew she was going to be a very close fighter. I knew that she was going to fight in the pocket a lot. She was very aggressive. I knew that. However, my plan obviously was different. Didn't happen because that ring is so damn small.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like again, you're getting hit with these bare knuckles. You don't want to get hit with those. You
Mm-mm.
know, those fights don't last. Those fights end in the first round. Those fights end quick. You get touched, they fall. I mean, those punches were fucking hard. And
Mm.
this girl was no, she was a tough, strong, she was a tough, strong girl, bulky. It definitely, that's the reason why you like clean so much. You don't want to get hit with those clean. Um, I did expect for the fight to happen like that. I didn't expect for me to play into her game,
Mm-hmm.
but again, everything goes out the window when you get hit. So yeah,
Yes. That is very true. Famous words of Mike Tyson. So now
right.
you said there's plans for another BKFC fight. But do you see yourself ever getting out of BKFC and doing maybe another MMA fight or possibly going
Definitely.
the professional kickboxing route?
No, kickboxing not for
No.
me. Don't want to do it. I don't even like it.
Okay.
Okay, I don't even like it. Um, I have two belts in kickboxing. But again, it's really not my. Everything in the amateur is different. Once you go pro, it's like you're dealing with different people. So
Mm.
No kickboxing for me. I definitely do want to do another MMA fight. I plan to do about like two more MMA fights, maybe three.
Okay.
Um, but right now I'm just focused on BKFC. I'm focused straight on boxing. I'm still working. I haven't been. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been. I didn't go back to grappling in about like 2 months. But I'm gonna start this weekend. Um, because again, I don't know when they're gonna call me for BKFC, when I'm gonna get another opportunity for MMA. If I get a good opportunity for MMA, I'm definitely gonna take it.
Hmm.
So I definitely want to stay active and yeah.
Okay. So, what is your favorite like kind of aspect of fighting? Is it like the wrestling? Is it the jiu-jitsu? Is it the boxing?
I love I definitely do like clinching. I love cage wrestling, boxing. That I mean, I love the whole thing. I'm not gonna lie, like the whole like jujitsu aspect is not like my thing really.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love the wrestling. I love the boxing. Boxing is really hard, by the way.
Yeah.
Just straight boxing and like the angles and moving and it is fucking tough. It's hard. The stamina, the cardio is completely different. You got to run a lot, like definitely different. But I just love the challenge. I love the challenge. Call me crazy. I do like getting hit. It does motivate me. It does make me want to fight. So I don't know. I like fighting.
Good answer. So now what are like your hobbies outside of fighting? Are there any, or is it all like training, 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 and then like focusing on the family?
Yeah. So my hobbies are, yeah. I can't say I have really any hobbies. I mean, I like to go to the gym. I like to train. Um, I focus on my kids, especially now that they're getting older.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting into the teenage years, so it is different. I can't say that I have all this like free time because I don't. I
Mm-hmm.
have four kids. My oldest one is older already. I obviously don't take care of her like that. But every child comes with its own own personality and problems and whatever. So I don't really have time like that. But I do. I love to go out and have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I like going to nice places and I like having dinner. I mean, I guess that's my free time. That's it.
Uh,
Other than that, like I live a pretty. I'm either working, training, or kids.
okay.
Obviously, I have a love life too. I have a boyfriend and everything, so I'm always busy.
I actually interviewed him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's the homie. Shout out D Money. But so we're almost done. So now, do you have any major goals with fighting or even after fighting?
Yeah, so right now I definitely want to fight again. I want to stay active right now. Do I have any goals in fighting? Yeah, I mean, I plan to win my fights. I would love to win and go after a belt either in MMA or in BKFC. I would love to end my career like that. I don't see myself fighting for years to come. I don't. Obviously, I'm getting older. I don't, I would say 1 or 2 years, I'm done. I'm going to retire. Um, I'm still always going to be training. I'm still always going to be sparring and doing things within martial arts. But yeah, I mean, I like taking pictures. I do like doing I also do like modeling stuff on the side
Mm-hmm.
too. But I do want to continue with that. I want to take care of my body, look good, feel good. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that now this is would be the time to shout out any of your social media platforms, tell the people where to find you, what other kind of content you do, stuff like that.
Okay, so yeah, I want to make a shout out to Teep Territory, my sponsor. They're the best. Please go buy their clothes. My discount code is La Reina 10. I also want to give a shout out to my boyfriend Donnie, D Money, who's been so supportive, so great. He's amazing. Give him a follow as well. You could find me at La Reina Ishtar on Instagram. And yeah, shout out to all my kids, my friends, my family, anyone who supports me. Not that many, but those who do, thank you. And that's it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I
Oh,
really
one
appreciate.
more thing. I also
Yeah,
want to give a shout out to my boyfriend, Donnie's family, his parents, his family, his whole family's been so amazing to me, so supportive. I want to give a shout out to them too. I love them so much.
absolutely.
So,
That's awesome. That kid's gonna be a future UFC champion.
oh yeah,
I love him.
for sure.
So thank you so much for coming on. It was a great conversation. I really appreciate the conversation we had. Make sure y'all check out my other content live every single day on Twitch and new Swagcast episodes every Wednesday. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.